So we have a sequel to a movie that came out almost 20 years ago that nobody was really asking for, and it's coming out in January. So that means this movie's gonna be terrible, right? So Bad Boys for Life is the third film in the Bad Boys franchise, and it's the first one that's not directed by Michael Bay. And this film is directed by Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah. Hopefully I said that right. If not, I apologize. And this movie sees the return of Martin Lawrence and Will Smith as Marcus Burnett and Mike Laurie as they're called back into action when a mysterious assassin is killing off all of these people connected to a past case that Mike Laurie was a part of, and then he eventually turns his gun on Mike. And as the saying goes with all the other movies with Mike Laurie and Marcus Burnett, we ride together, we die together. Bad Boys for Life. So now it's up to them to find out not only who the assassin is, but to also stop him. And so yeah, as I mentioned in my opener, like, when I found out that this movie was coming out in January, and in addition to that, like, when I saw the trailers for this movie, I wasn't really that sold on the trailers. Nothing in the trailer really stood out to me. And the few jokes that they threw in the trailer, mostly coming from Martin Lawrence's character, I was just like, it's not really that funny. So I wasn't really looking forward to this movie that much. And I was like, Bad Boys? Who's really looking for a Bad Boys 3? Like, maybe 10 years ago I'd be looking for this movie, because I like the first two Bad Boys movies, but I'm like, it's been almost 20 years. Like, at this point, let's move on. So in many ways, I was kind of, not literally, but I was sitting in this theater like, okay, let's see what this movie got. It's probably not gonna be that good. And surprise, surprise, I actually really enjoyed this movie. And actually, I honestly think Michael Bay not coming back to direct this movie actually did this particular movie and possibly this franchise a service. And honestly, like, I think part of the biggest reason I wasn't really looking forward to this movie this much is, again, based on the trailer. Like, everything in the trailer seemed like this movie was just gonna be a giant trope and a big old cash grab because it's an established franchise. Then you got Will Smith and now Martin Lawrence, who hasn't been in the movie for almost 10 years, to be like, okay, we're getting these two iconic actors back together. These two legends, come see our movie. Even in the trailer where they pull this whole, well, Bad Boys 3 will more than likely be the final movie in this installment, so they throw in the line, one last time. Like, every time I see that in the trailer, I just roll my eyes and I'm just like, oh, come on. Like, this is so obvious what this movie is. And that's not to say there aren't any tropes in this movie, but I feel like they take those tropes and they make it work. And not only that, like, you could tell the directors and the writers for this movie actually had a story to tell. Like, they didn't only come and make this movie because they felt it was an kind of what I said about my Star Wars review, where I felt like Star Wars was made out of an obligation and not out of inspiration. This movie felt the opposite. It does felt like, even though the studio might have came to them saying they want to make another Bad Boys, it still feels like that the idea for this movie came more so out of an inspiration than an obligation. And that's what made this movie fun for me. And not only that, like, I enjoyed a lot of the action sequences in this movie. And it's not to say it was like the greatest action sequences of all time, or this movie will go down as one of the greats in terms of action, but no, for what this movie was giving you and the action scenes that it did have, they were fun, they were enjoyable, and there were a lot of cool and interesting shots that they had in these action sequences, that, especially like one moment in particular at the end, I leaned over to my friend and I was like, that was actually a cool shot. And even all the side characters that you see in the trailers, you know, the much younger cops that are seemingly taking Mike and Marcus's place, like, even though they didn't have much to do, what they did with them, I really enjoyed, and I really liked those characters. Like, funny enough, my favorite character was Alexander Ludwig's character, who played Dorn. But yeah, I really ended up liking his character, and I feel that way about pretty much all the side characters. And of course, we got to talk about the villain for this movie. Like, honestly, throughout the whole movie, I was having a hard time focusing, because the villain is a character named Armando Armas, and he's being played by, I believe his name is Jacob Scipio, but I had a hard time focusing on the movie once he was introduced, because I was looking at the screen the whole time like, he is fine as hell, like, goddamn. And then with him being the villain, when he started doing his action scenes, again, I leaned over to my friend, I was like, okay, I'm kind of turned on right now. The whole movie, every time he was on screen, I was staring at the screen the whole time like, he is fine. Like, why can't I meet somebody that looks like him? Of course, not a homicidal murderer, but god damn, that man is fine. Ooh, and then when he was on screen speaking Spanish, I was just like, clean up on row H. But besides appreciating how fine he was, because Good God almighty. But what I really appreciated was the fact that he wasn't just a generic villain. Like, what they ended up doing with his character, I really appreciated and I really enjoyed it. And it was something I wasn't expecting. I will say, though, that despite liking the movie a lot and liking a lot of elements of the movie, you can definitely tell, at least to me, that Martin Lawrence hasn't been acting in a movie for at least the last 10 years. Because, I don't know, like a lot of his line delivery, it felt like he was acting. It felt like he was putting on a performance. I even felt that way in the trailers when you heard him speaking. Like, it just felt like he was putting on a voice and trying to act as opposed to just talking. And also, granted, this isn't necessarily Martin's fault, but a lot of his lines of comedy didn't really work for me. Like, just like, for example, take the line in the trailer that I'm assuming was supposed to be funny, where you had the new group of cops singing the Bad Boys song, bad boys, what you gonna do? And they started messing up the lyrics, and then Martin Lawrence and Will Smith were just like, hey, you know, don't ever do that again. And then Martin says the line like, yeah, and you're messing up the lyrics, which take a long time to learn. And I'm just like, is that supposed to be funny? Because it's not. And so yeah, overall this movie definitely surprised me. It was way more interesting and entertaining than I was expecting, and it's a movie I would definitely watch again. So I would say Bad Boys for Life is a definite hit. But anyway, have you guys seen Bad Boys for Life? What did you think about it? Also, if you have seen it, where does this movie rank in terms of the Bad Boys franchise? I'll have to go back and watch 1 or 2. It's been so long since I've seen them, and I've seen so many movies since then. I don't really remember that much. I just remember liking the first 2 movies. I can't even really say where I would rank this movie in the franchise. But do you remember? Let me know down in the comment section below. Also, if you can't hit that thumbs up button and like this video to really help out the channel. And if this is your first time watching one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. And if you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I'll catch you guys next time.